Why do our food turns bad when left exposed? How come when someone is sick, we are advised not to go near them? What should we do to protect ourselves from getting sick? Well, what causes us to be sick? Hello boys and girls, good to see y'all again today. I'm teacher Elaine and thank you for watching iTTV. Today we are going to learn about microorganisms. Well, we are going to recognize that some microorganisms are harmful. Welcome back, children! Well, during our previous lesson, we have learned that microorganisms are living things, and these tiny little creatures can breathe, grow, and also move. They move by the help of their flagella, right? The microorganisms breathe. What experiment did we do to prove that it breathes? Remember the yeast experiment? Inflating the balloon? Yes, and also I asked you to grow microorganisms at home using your petri dish. Did you do it? Well, I hope you did. Well, today we're going to see how microorganisms are harmful to us. Well, microorganisms are harmful, some actually, but what do they do to us that harm us? Let's see. Microorganisms can cause food poisoning, food spoilage, tooth decay, and also diseases. Well, we're going to talk about each and every point one by one. Well, we'll first talk about microorganisms and food poisoning. Food poisoning. This microorganism, bacteria, is named as Salmonella. Well, these bacteria contaminate exposed food easily. This bacteria named Salmonella is frequently associated with food poisoning. It is usually found in poultry, eggs, uncooked meat, and also sometimes in contaminated milk. Well, these microorganisms can also be contaminated from your dirty kitchen utensils. Let's say you have a raw chicken and you cut it with a knife on a chopping board, right? So if you don't wash this chopping board properly and if there is salmonella on your raw chicken which lands on your chopping board, and if you use the same chopping board to cut fresh fruits, the salmonella may end up in your fresh fruit, and after you consume them, you will get food poisoning. So what are the symptoms of food poisoning? If you get food poisoning, you may have diarrhea, headaches, stomach cramps, nausea and vomiting, fever, and also sometimes blood in the feces. Boys and girls, frequent diarrhea and vomiting will make you dehydrated. Dehydrated, well, that is from too much water loss due to excessive vomiting and diarrhea. So you will have to see the doctor and the doctor may prescribe you oral dehydration salt, alright? Okay, this salmonella, they can also be found on the feces of pets. So if you have pets and after they defecate, you should watch properly. Do not contaminate your hands when you want to handle food. Well, if you ingest this contaminated feces, salmonella may be on it, right? If you take it in, then you will have food poisoning. Now let's take a look at the next example. Food spoilage. So, what causes food spoilage? Microorganisms. Bacteria and fungi grow in places where there are nutrients and water. When they enter any food that they like, when there is plenty of nutrient and water for them, right? They will grow and reproduce on that particular food. Well, microorganisms are everywhere. So when they have opportunity to grow and multiply to a certain number, this huge number of bacteria or fungi, they will produce toxic substances or poisonous substances named toxin, and after you ingest this food, you will get food poisoning. We can see that food spoilage caused by microorganisms such as fungi will change the taste, smell, and texture of the food. Look at this picture with fungi growing on bread. You can see black and dark green spots on the bread. It is due to the fungal spores. The next example. This is a picture showing you that fungi can also spoil fruits such as oranges. The fungal spores can be seen on the surface of the oranges. Well, besides causing food spoilage, microorganisms, they can also cause tooth decay. Boys and girls, if you do not brush your teeth, then you may sometimes develop tooth decay. So how does this happen? Microorganisms cause tooth decay. There are bacteria living also in our mouths. So if you like to eat sweet stuff like sugary food or candies, and if you do not brush your teeth after that, then there will be plenty of sugar in your teeth, right? So these bacteria loving sugar, they will grow on your mouth or in your teeth because of the sugar, and they will multiply into big numbers and produce acid inside your mouth. This is why sometimes when you wake up from sleep, you can feel that your mouth tastes a bit sour, right? Yes, it is because the bacteria has produced acid in your mouth and acid tastes sour. Well, these acid, it will dissolve or make a hole on your teeth. That is how you form tooth decay. Well, microorganisms can also cause diseases. Examples of diseases caused by bacteria is such as tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a common and often deadly infectious disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Well, Mycobacterium tuberculosis is a type of bacteria. These bacteria attacks the lungs. Tuberculosis, I'm sure you have heard of people saying TB. TB, right? TB is tuberculosis. This tuberculosis is a disease caused by bacteria. Well, you can frequently see symptoms such as excessive coughing, alright, in persons who have TB, and sometimes they may even spit out blood. Okay, these bacteria, they are usually airborne. Airborne meaning that these bacteria can be transferred or spread through the air. Like, let's say, if a person has TB and if he sneezes, coughs or spit, they will throw out the microorganisms from their body into the air when they cough or sneeze. So when you breathe in or inhale the same air, you may breathe in or also take in these dangerous microorganism into your body, and you may develop tuberculosis or TB as well. Well, this TB or tuberculosis is deadly. You may die from this disease. But well, you do not have to fear too much because you have heard of the vaccine BCG, right? Yes, this BCG vaccine is to prevent you from developing tuberculosis disease. So when it is the right time for you to take this vaccine or injection, well, you should go and take it. Other examples of diseases caused by bacteria is such as tetanus. Well, can you see in this picture there is rusted nails, and the second picture is a picture of the microorganisms or bacteria named Clostridium tetani. Well, this bacteria is the culprit behind the disease tetanus. Well, the third picture shows a baby with the disease tetanus. Look at how this baby look like. You can see that his muscles are locked up, or he suffers from muscle spasm, okay? Well, The rusted nails. The rusted nails are frequently the source of these deadly bacteria. Tetanus is also known as lockjaw. It is caused by the bacterium Clostridium tetani. Well, if you have a rusted nail and you accidentally puncture the rusted nail onto your skin, this rusted nail may be contaminated by bacteria from the soil harboring these deadly bacteria Clostridium tetani. Well, these bacteria, when they enter into our body or into our bloodstream, they will produce toxins or poisonous substances which may flow through our blood and cause you to have this deadly disease. Another example of diseases caused by microorganisms or by the fungi is ringworm. Can you see the round patches or the rings on this boy? Well, he's suffering from the disease ringworm. This ringworm is a fungal infection of the skin in humans and domestic animals such as sheep and cattle. Well, fungi or fungus, they can grow on the surface of the skin of animals and also humans and attack our outer skin surface and cause us to have disease. It can also grow on our nails and also on our head scalp. Alright, so you will have to be careful with fungus. Well, these fungus, if some people they have ringworm, you will have to avoid direct contact with them to prevent yourselves from developing ringworm disease also. So how do you avoid? You should avoid from personal contact or direct contact. You should also avoid sharing personal items such as comb, clothing, or share the same towel. You should avoid these personal items with person who develops ringworm. And another thing, sometimes you have pets, maybe let's say a dog, and you can see bald spots on the dog's head, right? Well, you should also try to avoid your beloved pet maybe for a while because these bald spots on the pets may mean that they are infected by the fungi. Ringworm is a fungal infection of the skin. Another disease caused by fungi, yeast infection. Remember I told you yeast is also another different type of fungi? Yes, yeast infection. They are very bad. Okay? Yeast infection will cause oral candidiasis on your mouth. These yeast, the Candida albicans, usually appear as thick white or cream-colored deposits on your mouth. This is an oral infection caused by the yeast. Well, we've talked about fungus, yeast, and bacteria. What is the third one? Yes, viruses. Viruses, they are also deadly sometimes. We have heard about various types of diseases that the virus can cause. Now let's see what they are. Examples of diseases caused by virus such as chickenpox. Can you see chickenpox on the body of this man? Well, that virus is the culprit behind chickenpox. Chickenpox is a highly contagious disease which is able to be spread through the air. Well, these viruses, if they are exhaled out from the air from an infected person, such as when this person coughs or sneezes, this air will be contaminated by the virus which causes chickenpox, okay? If you inhale the same air, you will also develop chickenpox. Well, chickenpox, if you have gotten chickenpox before, have you? Well, I'm sure most of you have gotten chickenpox at a very young age. Well, if you have gotten chickenpox before, most probably you will develop immunity towards this disease, meaning if you have gotten it once, you may not get it the second time because your body is well prepared to fight with the virus when it comes again into your body. H1N1 flu. We have heard about the pandemic H1N1 flu occurring in the year 2009. Well, this flu has caused many deaths in humans. We have also frequently been reminded to wear face masks. So what is the purpose of wearing face masks? Well, this shows that this virus, this deadly virus, is also potentially spread through the air. It's the same thing when somebody sneezes or even talk loudly in front of you and exhale air contaminated by this virus, you will take in or breathe in the air and may also develop H1N1. So H1N1 is a virus which causes the pandemic flu. Well, the symptoms of H1N1 flu. It is just like the normal seasonal flu. Sometimes we get flu, right? But it may not be H1N1 flu. But you will have to be very careful because H1N1 flu has the same symptoms like the seasonal flu, which may not cause harm to you. The same symptoms are such as you may have fever, sore throat, frequent coughing, and even sneezing. And sometimes you may also get body aches. So in order to be safe, you will have to see the doctor when you develop these kind of symptoms, and maybe also have your blood checked and see if you are infected by H1N1, as this is a deadly disease. These are contagious diseases. Contagious diseases. Contagious diseases means that these diseases can be spread from one person to another. For example, if your friend has chickenpox, it's a normal reaction that you run away from them, right? Because you do not want to develop chickenpox also. Your mother will frequently ask you to maybe stay away from your siblings when they have flu. Why? Because flu, they are a contagious disease. That means it can be spread from one person to another. Well, there are various ways that these contagious diseases may spread. They can either spread through personal contact or even through the air or secretions from the mouth, and also by feces. Okay, let's see the various examples of contagious diseases. Examples of contagious diseases. H1N1 flu spreads through the air. Measles spreads through direct contact. Mumps. The symptoms of mumps is the swelling of neck. The mumps can spread through air. The viruses which causes conjunctivitis spreads through direct contact. Conjunctivitis. I'm sure you have seen people with conjunctivitis. It is the swollen eye or the red eye. You can see people's eye which appears to be very red. So you have to avoid sharing personal items with them, such as towels, okay? Chickenpox spreads through air and direct contact. Rubella is a disease which spreads through the air. And ringworm may spread through direct contact. AIDS. AIDS is caused by a deadly virus. AIDS spread through direct contact of blood with body fluid containing the virus. And tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is also a type of contagious disease, and as I've told you just now, tuberculosis may spread through the air. Contagious disease may spread through, such as food and drink. People who drink or eat foods which are contaminated with harmful microorganisms may come down with diseases. Direct contact. If you come into close contact or share the personal items such as combs and towels with a sick person, you may also develop the same disease. Sneezing or coughing. Sneezing or coughing releases microorganisms into the air. After you inhale this contaminated air, you may become infected. The viruses and other microorganisms may also be carried by mosquitoes or flies or other animals. For example, dengue. Dengue. You know the dengue mosquito? Yes, this black and white mosquito actually carries the microorganisms which cause you to have dengue. They are the Aedes mosquitoes. So, fear not, because there are ways to prevent diseases from spreading. What do you have to do? You will have to wash your hands before handling food, especially after using the toilet. When you want to drink water that has been boiled, because boiling kills microorganisms. This is to prevent drinking contaminated water, which is contaminated by microorganisms which may cause you to develop food poisoning. Cover your mouth when sneezing or coughing to prevent microorganisms from spreading into the air. Do not share personal items such as towels, toothbrush, and combs with someone who has an infection. Quarantine patients with contagious diseases such as chickenpox, mumps, and conjunctivitis. So, what do you mean by quarantine? Quarantine means isolating people with infectious diseases from others for a period of time. Wow, microorganisms are harmful and they have potentials to harm humans' health, and they also cause deadly diseases in humans. So we'll have to be very careful with microorganisms and make sure you practice good personal hygiene. Now, boys and girls, we'll move on to the exercise section. Question number 1. A piece of cake was left on the table. Why is the cake spoiled after a few days? Is it A, it was left on the table, B, it was not covered, C, it was kept too long, or is it D, it was spoiled by bacteria and fungi? The answer is D, it was spoiled by bacteria and fungi. Question number 2. Which illness is caused by fungi? A, flu, B, tetanus, C, tooth decay, or is it D, ringworm? Boys and girls, flu. Remember H1N1 flu and also H5N1 flu. This flu is caused by viruses, so it's not the answer. Tetanus. Tetanus and tooth decay is caused by bacteria, so the answer is D, ringworm. Question number 3. What must be done to reduce tooth decay? Is it 1, eat more food with high sugar content, or eat less food with high sugar content? Floss your teeth after meals, brush your teeth after meals. The answer is 2, 3, and 4 only. So, how did you do in the exercise section? I hope you got all correct. Now we'll quickly move on to vocabulary of the day. Conjunctivitis, sakit mata. Contagious disease, penyakit berjangkit. Infection, jangkitan. Influenza, selsema. Measles, campak. Mumps, bergok. Quarantine, diasingkan. Tooth decay, gigi reput. Well, boys and girls, the vocabulary part, did you understand them? I'm sure you do. You are a big bunch of bright students. Now we'll quickly move on to trivia of the day. Do you know that we were already in contact with microorganisms once we are born into this world? With every breath and touch, bacteria enter the body to colonize on the skin and other body parts. Wow, amazing, right? Now you know that once you come out into this world, you are immediately in contact with microorganisms. So microorganisms are harmful, alright? So you have to be careful with microorganisms. And there are various ways to prevent microorganisms from causing diseases or harming humans' health. Well, you will have to practice safe or personal hygiene and also boil water before you drink them. Well, thank you for your time and your patience for today's lesson. I'll see you again soon in our next lesson. Bye bye!